Peace, peace. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay. As you can see from the title, Stop Making Unintentional Babies is what we are going to be discussing today. Now, you can tell from my energy, I'm a little bit calm, but I'm about to turn up once we get into this video because this is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a very long time. And now I think it's time to finally share it. All right. So just as a disclaimer, I am not trying to bash anyone who are have children or looking to, have children in the future. And this video is strictly for awareness purposes. This is for bringing awareness and breaking out of these cycles that I see that's constantly being created throughout the Black community. All right. So put on your thinking caps, right? And enjoy this video.
Relatively recently, like maybe in the last 10 years, research has showed that when you become a dad for the first time, oxytocin rewires your brain so that you're more into bonding and less into the testosterone competitive stuff. Oxytocin goes up, testosterone drops, you become much more about like cuddling and bonding and wanting to stay in the home and look after the mum and the baby. Baby sleeps in the same room as you, then your testosterone levels drop even more.
Come on. Is that?
Because the oxytocin's becoming higher and higher because you've got this cute little warm thing that smells so nice and is so like vulnerable and dependent on you, and it's like in the room with you the whole 8 hours, of just oxytocin boost.
So the big question is, why do men not take care of their children amongst the Black community? Or the question is, why is there a huge epidemic that's played out through the Black community with single mothers, single parents, and there are not enough fathers around to take care of their children? Okay, so one thing I want to specify in the video, all we know is what we feel when testosterone is circulating through our bodies. That is our normalcy. That is how we feel into our emotional body. When we start to feel oxytocin, it's a different type of energy. It's a different type of sensation. It's a different type of feeling. And so if certain men are not aware, like I said, their emotional nature, and if they are not aware that this is what's happening, okay, their actions will always show. They leave. And what I realized through the oxytocin and the testosterone that's being played out through the male body, both of these hormones are clashing against each other. Okay, let's go a little bit deeper. So let's talk about the typical male adult. Let's talk about the typical male species. Okay. A man who does not or who is not aware of his emotional nature. If you are not aware of your emotional nature, okay, and you are having a baby and you're starting to have these changes happen inside of your body, you're going to do a lot of emotional turmoil or a lot of emotional sensitivity that's going to trigger something inside of you. Okay. So what I noticed, right, is that the man may not and is not aware of these emotional changes that's happening in his body. And if he's not aware of these emotional changes that's happening in his body, he's going to have what we call a trauma response. He's going to either fight or he's going to flight. And what happens when a man is, say, expecting a child to come into the world? His trauma response is to flight. He leaves. So having a child for a man can be very overwhelming. It's overwhelming his nervous system. And if he's not emotionally regulated, if he's not aware of his emotional nature, his trauma response is going to respond to this event, to this experience of having a child. He's going to flee. He's going to leave because he doesn't feel safe in his body. And with that being said, that's one piece of the puzzle that I've discovered in this whole conundrum of why we can't take care of our goddamn kids. All right. This next piece of the puzzle is for the ladies. All right. It's for the woman. Now let's go deeper into, of course, the topic of this video. Stop making unintentional babies. What do I mean by this? Ladies, You are the gatekeeper. No one can have sex with you because you have the keys to the gate. You are the gatekeepers to life. You are the portal to life. No man can enter into you unless you give them consent. All right. So, with that being said, what I've also researched over the years, especially from Dr. Africa's teachings and studies, he spoke about in certain indigenous tribes and traditions, the way they looked at sex wasn't how we look at sex today. A lot of the interactions we have in sexual intimacy is more recreational based, more pleasure based. Dr. Africa spoke about how in ancient indigenous traditions there was more about procreation and procreation only. So what I've noticed in the modern day world is that when two people come together and they're having sex out of the love between each other, out of the recreational reasons between it, out of the exclusivity that happens in a relationship, out of this is what's expected to be in a relationship. Two people come together and you're supposed to have sex. That's what's expected. But it's still coming from a space of recreation. You're doing it out of fun. You're doing it out of joy. You're doing it out of pleasure. Being said, sex was always about procreation and spiritual evolution. That's what it was utilized for in more indigenous ancient times. Moving forward, I highly suggest that if you're not looking to procreate, you put a goddamn condom on. And this is not rocket science. Let's go a little bit deeper with that. Guys, the men, the brothers who are listening to this video, get out your mind, break this habit that you have a fire pullout game. I don't know what the hell that shit means. Because if you have a fire pullout game, you would not have had a child that came out of nowhere on a Friday night while both of y'all watching Friday on a sofa. That don't sound intentional. That sound like you just like, let me slip it in. Oh, babe, look, I ain't pull out on that one. Can we break this habit? This is not even something deep. This is literally, are you utilizing sex as a coping mechanism? There's a lot of people I talk to in regards to sex, and I hear the same story. I can't feel it. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go raw, bro. I can't feel it. It feels so good. Blah da 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 da. Okay, that's cool. By all means, do what you gotta do. But what we talking about is stop having unintentional babies because you're not setting any intention. You're just sticking it in, having a good old time, and then don't have the will to pull it out. And now you have a time 9 months exactly that follows after that. And just in case you still not getting this message, it's still not resonating for you, let me express to you, let me give you a visual of what an unintentional baby look like. So for people who know and for people who don't know, I do drive school buses. All right. That's what I do for a living. I drive school buses. And of course, I have my business. An unintentional baby looks like I'm driving the school bus, and as I'm getting to the child's stop, their mother, their father, their siblings are not present to pick up this child. An unintentional baby looks like a child who is yelling at the top of their lungs, who is hitting and slapping and beating on every child that they see, who is downright just straight bad as fuck because they need attention and they're not receiving it at home. And so they come to school or to go to somewhere out in the public and they're creating all of this attention because that's what they need the most. An unintentional baby looks like me. An unintentional baby looks like you. An unintentional baby is the collective. We have suffered from huge amounts of emotional neglect as a child. We have suffered from huge amounts of abandonment as a child. It's because our parents was not intentional when they brought us into the world. And so we experience emotional neglect. We experience emotional abandonment. And so now we have to do the cleanup work. And now we got to reparent. We got to support an inner child that's inside of us who still feels neglected. This is why it's so important to be intentional prior to you having a child. Because we're just creating a whole collective, a whole society, a whole community of neglected children. I see it every day on the bus. I am not making this shit up. I swear to you. It just is so disheartening because I know that this child doesn't know what they don't know. When that child doesn't have their parent at the bus stop, I have to bring the child back to the school. All I'm thinking in my mind is, I wonder how this child is perceiving this experience. Because children are naturally very egotistical because they have needs that need to be met by their caregivers. So they take everything personal. So I could just only imagine. Now, granted, the child is safe because we're going to get them where they need to be. But I can only imagine what is their thinking. Something simple as my mom was not at the bus stop, they will perceive that as neglect. Children need a lot of love, affection, and attention. If you cannot provide that, please do not bring a baby into this world. Period. Also, in that whole intention setting that you are doing with your partner, notify, check in with your village. Your village is your extended family. If you are looking to have a baby, check in to see who will be there for you to take care of this child because you cannot raise that child by yourself. Male and mother and father. Yes, they can do the damn thing because it takes two. But that child needs so much attention that a village also needs to be present. Check in to see who your village is. Don't have the assumption that my family is going to help me take care of this child. Because I've also came across a lot of people, a lot of parents that are very selfish at the age that they're at, and they do not want to risk their freedom of taking care of another child that's not theirs. It might be their grandbaby or whatever, but they don't want to risk changing, or they don't want to change their whole lifestyle because you didn't have a baby. They feel like that's not their role. I have seen that throughout the course of driving school buses. All right. So make sure you have a definite village, someone you know, a group of people who you know you can trust and you can depend on when you need a break. Because I do feel as if a lot of the single parent women who, taking care of their business, they will have so much more of a ease in this experience of taking care of the children by themselves if they had a village that they can rely on to help them and to give them a break when it's needed. Because obviously, right, taking care of one child by yourself is a lot. That's an understatement. You know what I'm saying? So please be intentional. Stop making babies and be responsible. Be mature. If you're not ready for a child, please wrap it up, bro. Let's just cut this shit out. And as I end off this video, for people who may or may not know, I am a spiritual life coach. I specialize in inner child work. Okay. So if you are a person who knows, in the back of your mind, you suffer from all the things that you have experienced as a child and it is still impacting you as an adult, please reach out to me. All right. If you are struggling with self worth, if you have that thought in your mind that says, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, or you find yourself attracting partners that are completely toxic as fuck and you keep creating the same cycles and don't know why, please reach out to me. If you just want to alleviate yourself, get into your heart chakra, start to have emotional freedom, start to become more lighter, start to actually have self love. Because I'm going to be real with y'all. On a journey this past almost 19 years, all I did was try to find ways to heal myself. And when I realized one thing about self love, it is just not one aspect of yourself. The version of me that's speaking to y'all, I just don't give love to this part of myself. I have to give love to all parts of myself. The parts of myself when I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all of them need love. It's deep. It is deep. It is not that shit you see on social media. You just gotta love yourself, self love. Yeah, that puts a little gas in your car, but it's not gonna take you far. It's about becoming whole. So I'm definitely taking clients. Please, matter of fact, what I'll do is I'll leave my website for you guys to contact me, and my Instagram for you to contact me, and my email. I'm gonna put all that down there in the description. And on that note, I'm gonna let y'all go. If there's any part of this video that you resonated with, or you might have seen for yourself, or anything, I just love to talk to people. Please drop a comment below. And on that note, I'm gonna let y'all go. Peace.